I say yo. Welcome to the BBW show, you feel me? We talk battle rap, basketball, and wrestling. And the topic today is wrestling. More importantly, Edge WWE A&E biography, you feel me? Now, like I said, I'm going to be reviewing all of these. I reviewed every episode of season 2 so far, from Goldberg to The Undertaker to Kurt Angle to Lex Luger to DX to the Bella Twins. Next week is, I think, the final week, and we got Rey Mysterio. So I'm going to definitely talk about that. You feel me? Now, this week we had Edge. And if I'm being honest, I think this was the best one so far. Honestly, this was the best WWE biography, or WWE Legends, as you say. This was the best one of season 2 so far. To me, this was the best one. Edge is he's had a very long career, and he's had a very, how can I put this? How can I put this? He's had a lot of ups and downs, basically. He's had a lot of ups and downs. A lot of ups and downs, you feel me? But I really like this documentary, and I highly recommend it. Now, immediately it felt like he jumped into wrestling. This one got into like wrestling quicker than all the other documentaries, I feel like. Like, it was like the first 10 minutes he was wrestling in a wrestling ring. I'm not gonna lie. They talked about his cousin or his uncle passing at a young age when he was driving. But other than that, that was the only bad part. And then they got immediately into him starting to become a wrestler. Immediately talked about him going to the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior WrestleMania 6 match. Immediately, you feel me? The other ones didn't do that. Goldberg and Lex Luger, first they was doing football, and then they became wrestlers. Kurt Angle was a collegiate wrestler first. The Bella Twins was doing hockey or soccer or something. He immediately jumped into wrestling. Like, he had no part-time job or nothing. This was always where he wanted to be. So that was dope to see. This was a really good one. I'm not gonna lie. Let me see my notes. Edge grew up poor, you feel me? Single mom in Canada. I didn't know that, you feel me? Like I said, his uncle Gary died at 17. We had a lot of Christian here, which is dope, you feel me? But a surprise for obvious reasons. Christians in AEW. But we've seen AEW wrestlers in this. But we've seen a lot of Christian. I'm not gonna lie. There was a lot of Christian in here. He won wrestling training in the newspaper. That was dope. I'm not gonna lie. That was real lucky. Like, they had a newspaper article, I guess, and they said, hey, send a letter, and then if you win, we'll give you wrestling training. And Edge applied and ended up winning. That was a real surprise. He had his first match in front of people, July 1993. He looked just like Bret Hart. He had the tights, he had the long boots, the elbow pads, the singlet, tank top. He looked just like Bret Hart in his first match. I'm not gonna lie. And it was in 93. Bret Hart was the man in 93, respectfully. He was the man in 1993. Edge wrestled in all the Canada indies. This is another thing that wasn't in none of the documentaries. I don't think Lex Luger was doing indies. Like, he immediately found his way to Jim Crockett. Goldberg almost immediately found his way to WCW. Kurt Angle almost immediately found his way to WWE. So we didn't see none of them working on the indies, you feel me? Edge was literally on the indies, bro. Like, the indies in Canada, grinding, working. That was dope. I'm not gonna lie. That was dope to see footage like that. He met Bret Hart on a talk show, you feel me? Like, he was out here, I'm not gonna lie. Edge was outside really trying to chase his dream. You gotta give him a lot of credit for that, you feel me? Bret Hart gave him some nice words like, yo, keep training, da-da-da. And that's what he did. Just kept training. Then he said that, I guess, Bret Hart would met him again or something. And then he met Bret Hart manager. And then he called them and said he got a contract in WWE. Like, this all happened very quickly. I'm not going to lie. It was probably like 3 years. But it was like very quickly. I'm not going to lie. He got a WWE contract not that long after. Now, here's where fate goes left, you feel me? Not left, but here's like where it goes bad, you feel me? One, he hated the Edge character. The first Edge character, the one that used to live in the train stations, in the subways, he hated that character. He hated it. And I didn't know how hands-on Edge is with his stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I fake knew because some of his music choices, and even his gear, even his merchandise. It seems like he makes it. But he even had that idea back then. Like, yo, I want to be hands-on my stuff. That was real dope to see. I'm not going to lie. That was real dope to see. He injured somebody his first match. His first televised WWE match in WWE, he injured somebody with a tope suicida. Over the top rope. Injured somebody. First match. Wow. That's crazy. That's a bad sign right there. Very bad sign. Then the Brood came in, you feel me? They brought in Christian probably like 6 to 8 months later after Edge. Brought in Gangrel. Then they was the Brood, you feel me? Very cool, very cool. Nice little Gangrel cameo. That was cool. Now, your man's Bruce Pritchard said Edge and Christian is one of the best tag teams of all time. Bruce Pritchard said this. I know he works for WWE, but that's a reach. That's a reach. I'm sorry, that's a reach. I love Edge and Christian. I love them. They're not nearly one of the best WWE tag teams of all time. Not nearly. Usos, Hardy Boys, Dudleys, New Day. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah, they not. And Edge and Christian only lasted probably like 3 years. From 98, they got together. By 2001, they was broken up. And they never got back together again. It was never an Edge and Christian reunion tour. You feel me? They probably just got back together and did like angles together. But we never got Edge and Christian in a tag team match after 2001. That is crazy to think about. I can't call somebody the greatest tag team of all time, and they only had a 3-year run. Even the Outlaws, the New Age Outlaws, got back together a million times. TNA and in WWE in early 2014. So it's like, I'm sorry. Edge and Christian I liked them a lot. They're not nearly one of the greatest tag teams in WWE history. I'm sorry. They changed the game and all of that. They talked about No Mercy 99. This was the first ever tag team match in No Mercy 99. That is what, 23 years ago? You know how many multi-man ladder matches we had since then? 1 billion. Like 1 billion. And the first one was only 23 years ago. That's crazy to think about. I'm not going to lie. That's crazy to think about. They talked about all the TLC matches. You feel me? I would consider that, if we being honest, Edge and Christian versus the Hardys versus the Dudleys, in my mind, is probably the greatest tag team rivalry in WWE history. I can't just pick out 2 teams in one of that. I got to say all 3 teams combined made some of the greatest tag team matches in WWE history, respectfully. They talked about Edge breaking out as a singles, but first that's another thing. Like, they split up Edge and Christian, but then they just put them in separate tag teams. That's the thing that I didn't like about it. Because Christian was just with the Un-Americans. After Edge and Christian, he was with the Un-Americans with Tess and Lance Storm. And then he was a team with Chris Jericho. That lasted until like 2004. And then Trish turned on Chris Jericho. After Edge and Christian, he was a team with Rey Mysterio for the Smackdown 6. And he was a team with Hulk Hogan. So it's like, bro, y'all broke up them for way less over teams. Edge and Christian was way more over than all of them other teams that they was in, respectfully. Your man Hulk Hogan called Edge his son. Hulk Hogan will not be on camera and not put sauce on it, respectfully. It's like you going to McDonald's, bro. Hulk Hogan's going to put sauce on whatever. He called Edge his son just because Edge watched him at WrestleMania 6. It was like I was teaming with my son. It's like, relax, Hulk Hogan. Relax. What else they talked about? His first injury, you feel me? He had his first injury in 2002. This was a big deal. I'm not going to lie. Probably 2003. But this was crazy because it was a time when Paul Heyman was taking over SmackDown. And everybody loved that Paul Heyman SmackDown era from 2002 to maybe 2005. Everybody loved that SmackDown. And Edge was almost a part of that. Gangsta. Edge was almost a part of that. And then he got injured, and when he came back on Raw. And he came back as a heel. Now, I would have loved to see the way Paul Heyman booked Edge. Because he booked everybody perfectly on SmackDown, respectfully. Even the guys from the SmackDown 6. He made Kurt Angle world champion, Eddie Guerrero world champion. He made Rey Mysterio larger than life. You feel me? He was having matches with Brock and Big Show. He didn't make Benoit world champion, but Benoit won the Royal Rumble, then went to Raw and won the world championship. So I'd have loved to see how Paul Heyman would have booked a young Edge. Would he have kept him as a babyface, or if he turned him heel? That was something to think about. I'm not gonna lie. What else? They talked about him coming back and getting booed. You feel me? Then they talked about his 2006 run. Edge's 2006 run is what led to the Hall of Famer Edge, respectfully. Edge in 2006 was on fire. He just won the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 22 or 21, right? He cashes in on John Cena New Year's Revolution. Still to this day, even though it's the first cash-in, it's still a top 5 cash-in. Edge cashing in on Cena. Because that's what the Money in the Bank is for. Like, yeah, you're supposed to take advantage of the weak champion after he just had a grueling match. That's still one of the best cash-ins to me. It's not better than Seth Rollins' WrestleMania, but it's still one of the best. Him versus Mick Foley at WrestleMania, classic match. Him going to One Night Stand 2006 and helping RVD win the world title, classic angle, you feel me? Him and Edge and Lita sex celebration on Raw, classic angle, you feel me? Edge was on fire in 2006, bro, on fire. And then that led to him going to Smackdown, and he was a top heel on Smackdown for years. Years. He was a top heel on Smackdown. Feuded with Batista, feuded with Undertaker, and classic rivalries. Him and Undertaker was classic. Him and Jeff Hardy, very, very good, you feel me? Him and Rey Mysterio, very good, you feel me? But him and Undertaker, classic, you feel me? Then they talked about him having to retire. Him having to retire in what, 2011? Him having to retire 2011. He was having bad neck problems. It just came out of nowhere, too. He just had to retire, you feel me? Then they talked about him coming back for the Royal Rumble in 2020. Then him having winning the Royal Rumble the next year, going to WrestleMania. And if we being honest, Edge is having a great comeback. I was going to say it's one of the best comebacks ever, but I don't think it is. But it could be up there. It could be up there for one of the best comebacks ever. Your man took 10 years off. 10 years off. 10. Shawn Michaels only took 4. Respectfully. He took 10 years off. CM Punk only took 8. He took 10 years off. Came back and was still having some great matches. Him and Randy Orton, great. Him at WrestleMania, great. Versus Roman Reigns and Bryan Danielson, great. Him and AJ, it was more about building up the Judgment Day than having great matches, but their matches were still good to me. I'm not going to lie. Him and Seth Rollins, great. You feel me? Great. He's had a lot of great matches since he's come back. And tonight on Raw, well, the Raw's already going to happen when it's come out. But he's going to be having a match with Damian Priest. And I expect him to be wrestling Finn Balor one-on-one at Clash at the Castle. So it's like, bro, since Edge came back and since in 2020, this 2-year run is way better than Christian running AEW. Way better. And it's up there with one of the best returns ever. Respectfully. In my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, comment, share, subscribe, turn the bell for notifications. I'll be back with more.